as far as the blue bloods being related to the evil aliens, I do agree that that I do believe that there was such thing as a blue blood that stemmed back from the waybacks of time. You have back in the beginning of civilization, modern civilization, in the beginning of Sumeria, when they taught us the six numbered digit, whatever you want to call that, the Roman numeral or the or Arabic numerals, and the Hebrew alphabet, and all the and brought us seeds and taught us how to farm and taught us this and taught us that and helped us keep going. At the beginning, I think they did have people who were genetically part alien, in control of things, who were maybe even genetically superior, even though that kind of sounds racist. But in the New Age world, people say that Jesus Christ was here partly for that reason. He was, the Immaculate Conception. His mother got pregnant with alien sperm, and then he had children with Mary Magdalene, and who created the Merovingian dynasty. That's what Bashar says, the Merovingian kingdom in southern France, the hippie long-haired kings, and they brought back in the day, a long time ago, when it's just a whole bunch of cave people, farmers. A monarchy actually worked because you have consolidarity, you have decisiveness and the decisions, and the educated leader. That's how the Tibetans had it for so long. They had your enlightened ruler. The spiritual leader of the country was also the political leader. The Dalai Lama was the spiritual leader as well, and the political leader, and he was the just leader. And we have plenty of tales about that, like Solomon, all of the tales of Solomon, how he was the good judge between, anybody had a squabble, they'd go to Solomon, and you have a brilliant idea about what to do with it. And it worked for a long time. And then, so you mix that, you bring that in with all of the different loosely confederated states, with them all related to each other, and it worked. So to look at that as like they're all evil and they're all bad isn't good, because I did a video about David Icke a couple years ago, and it was before I even really, I didn't know that much about David Icke, never read a book, to this day haven't read a book of his. All I know about David Icke is from the interviews that he's had and him doing speeches or whatever. And I did a video on that just because he's one of the conspiracy things, and I did a video about him. And I was very benign. I was very complimentary to David Icke. All I said, I didn't watch the video since I made it, but maybe I said something about, I don't know about the evil reptile aliens. Maybe they're not that bad. I don't know. Anyways, I think it was a David Icke supporter. At least that was the impression I had when I heard the comment on my video. Oh, you fucking piece of shit. You should die. Your mother made a mistake when you got pregnant with you. You fucking asshole motherfucker. Now, I don't know, and I think they came back at me like twice or something. Now, I can't guarantee for sure they were a David Icke supporter, because that's all they really said, but I remember that the impression I had at the time was that they were a David Icke supporter, and they thought that I was just like not supporting him enough or something. But I do believe that, when you get David Icke getting all angry, Michael Tsarion getting all angry like this, David Icke called George Bush Jr. the idiot son. Michael Tsarion was dissing on Tony Robbins, saying it was Mickey Mouse, stupid, stuff that skirts the issue. And when they do little stories about, ancient civilizations and the mystery, they end it with more questions than they begin it. And it's true that these people in the mainstream media don't have the courage or the open-mindedness or research to actually be able to come to a solid conclusion and say, look, people, aliens, or some kind of advanced civilization. But to look at that as like they're stupid, and then like, and then say like the asshole, the asshole, idiot, losers, creates an energy of anger. And if you listen to like a whole speech of Michael Tsarion and see his facial expressions, he brings you an energy of anger. And it's not a good energy if you're around it for more than like an hour, if you listen to him for more than like an hour. And in this day and age, we're trying to come together as a race. As more and more people start to realize that aliens are here, a lot of people, I think more than a lot of people realize, but I say a fuckload of people, man, are going to think aliens are bad, and they're going to freak out. And the last thing that we want to be doing right now is saying that aliens are bad, or that the people in charge are bad, because it's just going to create more distrust, and it's going to create more drama. And the last thing we need right now in this world is drama. The first thing we need is trust, and to look at everything in a positive light, glasses half full instead of half empty type of an attitude. By saying that everybody is bad, and like, you know, basically like if you're from a rich family, you're bad. Because a lot of these people, they were born in the rich families, but just because they were born in a rich family doesn't make them bad. People who, like the robber barons, you know, and all of these you know, Carnegie and all these super rich people came out of the Industrial Revolution, and that was just brand new to everybody. It was brand new, the railroads, and so they had monopolies, and that's just how it was. And for a while, maybe, yeah, they were doing some underhanded stuff to undercut their competition so that they could become a monopoly and all this stuff. But then they felt bad about it afterwards, and you know, because they were just doing what their forefathers before them had done. But then they realized, and then they go, oh yeah, and then they gave all their money away, and they became philanthropists. Carnegie Hall. Carnegie became the greatest philanthropist ever. And what about the other guy? You know, and then their children. The Bilderbergers, the son, he's all trying to fight global warming, you know. Their children grow up with all this money, more money than they know what to do with. And if you really do look at them, they start to try charities. They try to start charities, and they try to better the world. They really do. And you know, to look at somebody's like they're bad just because they're rich, and they're evil, and it's kind of like, it's like, what are you saying, that you would do a better job? Like if you get some poor person, that they're going to do a better job? It's kind of like, you know, when you trying to invade Iraq and you're going to kill Saddam Hussein because he's so bad. Well, then if you kill him, some other poor fuck is going to go there and take over and be just as bad as Saddam ever was. Saddam Hussein took over Iraq by killing his mentor, who was like his best friend, his like father figure. He just killed him and took over. It's like the pirates, like Yellowbeard, you know? And if we had left Iraq right after invading Iraq, we would have gotten a whole nother Saddam Hussein in there, and it would have been like we'd never gone in there. And that's the same thing. I mean, it's just part of the human condition. If you read that Brian Weiss book, Many Lives, Many Masters, the girl is talking about her past lives. In her past life, she was a rich girl with slaves in one. She was a slave in another, you know? We're all in this together. We're all in the same boat. We all are born. You live a rich life, this life, and then you have another experience. It's all about having different experiences. Now, I know this is a big, you know, opens up a can of worms about all these contradictions that could happen. Because I'm sure that, you know, yeah, there are soul group families, and, you know, there's rich people who are reborn in the same rich family and the same genetic line over and over again. And it's true that the things that powerful people have done to the poor in the past have been horrendous, making them work six days a week out of the year for them only to be able to work like 1 day out of the week on their own farm and basically be slaves, is horrible. To Michael Tsarion himself said that the English taxed the air on the houses in Ireland, and that's why all the houses in Ireland have really small windows, because the English taxed the air. And that's awful. But I mean, would you really do? Would you sell out? Would you really be that much different? Because Michael Tsarion likes to talk like he's above it all. Like he, like all these, these idiot mainstream media people who just skirt the reality and all this stuff. And he's so much better. But I mean, the way that he talks, it's got so black and white. There's the good guys and the bad guys. It's like if he were to make a movie, because he was like talking trash about like Hollywood and, like all of this like macho nonsense, he called it, with Bruce Willis and all this stuff, because he's trying to talk about subliminal archetypes of 007 and all this stuff. And if you can get past all of the macho bullshit, I don't know, man. I mean, the way that he talks, if Michael Tsarion would write and direct a movie, there'd be the good guys and the bad guys, and with the black and white, kind of like that L. Ron Hubbard movie that John Travolta made, with the good guys and then the bad guys, but at the end the bad guys win. That's in the same paradigm. If you're going to be a true transcendent hippie, looking at it from the eyes of like the ascended angels, then you really see them all as there are no bad guys. I believe that. I believe that there are no bad guys. There's no bad aliens. There's just sick aliens. And so I would just make it like a drama, like, everybody's trying to do as good as they can, and there's some confusion, but at the end, you just work it out. And that also goes like towards my cosmology. My idea about the history of the solar system is a little bit different than Michael Tsarion's. He was saying that, and I think his solar sources are basically psychic people who've done channelings or whatever, same as me. But I think most of his sources, and I haven't seen his book list, but just from talking how he said Madame Blavatsky, Theosophical Society, these are people from the 1800s. And back in the 1800s, there wasn't as much psychic energy and spiritual energy as the world is now. And you have a lot of those mediums from the past. And I think a lot of those mediums channeled a lot more like dark spirits, just like floating, disembodied spirits who weren't ascended masters, but were just like dead people who could see the perspective of the whole history and saw the history, but then had their own like negative take on it. Kind of like the Urantia book, which was written back in like 1928. It was written by disembodied spirits, not ascended masters, but disembodied spirits from the lower astral realms, who saw black people as inferior. As an inferior race genetically, and and it's the white race who's the best, and having a very like just being against superstition, and not seeing the spiritual side of all of the shamanistic religions and stuff. And so maybe what he read kind of picked up on that, because he said like, evil aliens were chased out of somewhere into this solar system, and then they blew up Marduk, the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, and then they fled here, and then they decided to take over us, and so they came here and they created human species so that they could control us and manipulate us. But I don't see it that way. I see the human race. I agree with him, everything about that. Like, there was a war that blew up that planet, Maldek, and that one of its asteroids came and crashed into the Earth and destroyed Atlantis and that whole, world civilization from Lemuria. And then they came and they taught us civilization. But instead of them, like what he says, is that they came here just to like manipulate us and control us. I think they came here to actually help us. Whoops, I'm out of time. I got to pee anyway. Just a second.